Hey guys, before I start, I need you to do one thing: listen closely. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story. It's something that really happened to me. It started like any ordinary week: coffee, work, sleep, repeat. And then one message changed everything. A stranger reached out to me claiming to know a secret about my past, something my own parents had hidden from me. Within days, my phone was hacked, my bank accounts frozen, and men in black suits started following me everywhere. I thought I was losing my mind, until I realized the truth. I wasn't being paranoid, I was being erased. So before we dive in, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment when you're done, because by the end, I want to know what you would have done if you were me. Now, let me tell you how my life turned into a nightmare I still haven't woken up from. Hey Reddit, I don't even know where to start. I've rewritten this a dozen times because every version sounds too insane to be real, but I swear to you, every word you're about to hear actually happened. I'm not trying to get attention, I'm not trying to make this sound like a horror movie. I just need to tell someone. And maybe, just maybe, someone out there will believe me or tell me I'm not losing my mind. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please take a second to hit like and subscribe, because I'm still trying to make sense of all this and your support honestly helps more than you realize. So, here goes. I'm 28, and up until a few months ago, I lived with my boyfriend, Ethan, in a small 2-bedroom apartment in Northern California. We'd been together almost 3 years. We had a cat, shared rent, shared groceries, shared dreams. Or at least, I thought we did. Ethan worked in tech, long hours, unpredictable schedules. I'm a freelance graphic designer, so I spent most of my time at home. Our relationship wasn't perfect, but I thought we were solid. Stable. The kind of couple who argued about dishes and Wi-Fi, not trust or betrayal. But in February, things changed. Slowly at first. He became distant, distracted, always glued to his phone. I'd catch him stepping outside to take calls, whispering in the kitchen late at night. When I asked who he was talking to, he'd brush it off. Just work, he'd say. But what kind of work happens at 2 a.m.? One night, I woke up to the sound of him talking in the kitchen. His voice was low, almost shaking. I crept to the hallway and heard him say, "No, she doesn't know. I'll handle it. Don't call here again." That sentence burned into my mind. When I asked who it was, he froze for half a second, then smiled. "A client," he said, way too calmly. "You know how deadlines are." But he looked right through me when he said it. That was the first time I felt it, the gut-deep feeling that something was very, very wrong. Over the next few weeks, he grew more paranoid. He didn't want me using his laptop. He'd flinch when I walked behind him. Then he started suggesting I go stay with my sister for a bit. Which would have made sense, except I don't have a sister. It was such a weird thing to say that I remember laughing, and he didn't even smile. I didn't move out right away. I told myself he was just stressed. But he kept pushing, finding excuses to get me out. One Friday, I finally agreed to stay with a friend for the weekend. He seemed relieved, too relieved. Before I left, I went to grab my passport from my desk drawer. That's when I found it. It was a small silver key, tucked under a pile of old receipts. I knew every key in that apartment, and this one didn't belong. No label, no tag. Just a plain, cold key. I slipped it into my pocket, pretending I hadn't seen it. I don't know why, but something told me not to tell him. A few days later, Ethan said he'd be out of town for work. He didn't say where or for how long. The second he left, I went back to the apartment. I know, it sounds like snooping, but by that point, I needed to know what was happening. Everything looked normal. His desk, his drawers, even his closet, neat, organized, nothing suspicious. But when I crouched down to pick up a fallen pen, I noticed a small metal box tucked under his desk. One of those office-style lockboxes. It had a tiny keyhole. My hand started shaking as I pulled the silver key from my pocket. I slid it in. It fit perfectly. Inside the box were three things. A cheap burner phone. A folded map with several spots circled in red. And a small black USB drive. No labels, no cash, no documents. Just those three things. The map caught my attention first. The circles weren't random, they were all places we'd been together recently. A hiking trail. A coffee shop. Even my gym. Why would he mark those? Then I plugged the USB into my laptop. At first it looked empty, until I clicked Show Hidden Files. A folder appeared, labeled camera_07. Inside were dozens of video files, all dated between October and January. I opened the first one. It was me. Walking to my car. Buying groceries. Jogging on the treadmill. Even sleeping. The camera angles weren't from inside our apartment. These were hidden cameras, in public places, at different angles, zooming in on me. My heart was hammering so loud I could barely hear. I opened another video. Same thing. Different day, same focus, me. Some videos were timestamped with locations I didn't even recognize. There was one in what looked like a storage unit. That's when I saw an address written on the back of the map. It was a storage complex about 40 minutes away. I tried calling Ethan. Straight to voicemail. I texted, "Ethan, what the hell is this? I found your drive." He never replied. Instead, he blocked me. On everything. The next morning, I drove to the address. The complex was half abandoned, rusty fences, flickering lights. The office was empty. I found unit number 107, the one circled on the map. The lock was broken. Inside, there was a single chair, a camera tripod, and duct tape on the floor. And on the concrete, a photograph of me. I stood there shaking, staring at that picture. My stomach turned ice cold. Then I heard footsteps. I ducked behind the door just as a man in a gray hoodie walked toward the unit. He was talking quietly on his phone. I held my breath, trying not to move. Then he stopped, looked straight at the door, and said, "He told me you wouldn't come back here." I didn't wait to hear the rest. I ran. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. I locked the doors, sped away, and didn't stop until I hit a gas station miles away. When I called the police, they said they'd send someone to check it out. But when I followed up, they told me there was nothing unusual in the unit, no chair, no camera, no photo. Like it had all been cleaned out overnight. That night, I got a text from an unknown number, "You shouldn't have opened the box." I deleted it immediately, shaking so hard my phone nearly slipped from my hands. The next morning, I noticed my car's back seat was pushed forward, like someone had been sitting behind me. That was the breaking point. I packed a bag, moved in with a friend, and tried to forget. But you can't forget something like that. A few nights later, I went to a cafe to work. That's when a woman I'd never seen before sat at my table. Dark hair, sunglasses, calm but tense. She didn't even introduce herself. She just slid an envelope toward me and said, "You need to read this," before walking out. Inside the envelope was a photograph, me and Ethan, at a music festival months ago. On the back, someone had written, "You're in danger." He wasn't alone. Below that, "Meet me at the bridge on 5th Street. 8 p.m. If you're still listening, please take a second to like this video, because what happened next still makes my skin crawl. I went. Of course I did. I had to know what was happening. At 8 p.m., the bridge was nearly empty. The woman from the cafe was already there, leaning on the railing, smoking a cigarette. "I don't have much time," she said. "They're watching me too." I asked who they were. "It's not just Ethan," she said. "It's his job." "What job?" I asked. "He told you he works in tech." "That's the cover. He works for a private surveillance contractor." They pay people to follow targets, record them, collect data. But he got too close to one of his targets. Me, I whispered. She nodded. He was supposed to disappear after he finished, but he stayed. That's why they want you out, you're part of their file now. Before I could ask anything else, a black SUV pulled up at the end of the bridge. 2 men got out. The woman flicked her cigarette, eyes wide. "Run," she said. So I ran. I hid behind an old storage shed until they drove away. When I came out, she was gone. That night, I checked into a cheap motel under a fake name. I turned off my phone. I barely slept. But around 3 a.m., I got a notification from my home security camera, the one Ethan had installed. The clip showed someone breaking into my apartment. The man went straight to my bedroom closet, pulled out a shoebox, and left. Inside that shoebox, before, I had kept my old passport, some personal letters, and photos. Nothing valuable. But deeply personal. He took it all. The next morning, I remembered the burner phone from Ethan's lockbox. I turned it on. There was no SIM card, no contacts, just one app, Signal. When I opened it, there was a chat thread with someone saved as control. The messages were all commands. Subject: leaving gym. Follow at 200 feet. Do not engage unless authorized. And the last one, asset compromised. Retrieve materials. Neutralize if necessary. I dropped the phone. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd faint. Was I the asset? I used a new number to call Ethan. He picked up on the first ring. "Stop calling me," he said. "Ethan," I whispered, "what is happening?" "I know about the storage unit. I know about the files." There was silence, then he said, "You weren't supposed to see any of that." "What does neutralize mean?" I asked. More silence. Then, softly, "Meet me at the old train yard. Tomorrow. Noon. Come alone." He hung up. The next day, I drove there. My hands were sweating the whole way. The train yard was quiet, abandoned except for a few freight cars. Ethan was there, waiting. He looked terrible, pale, unshaven, hollow-eyed. "I tried to protect you," he said. "But you wouldn't leave." "Protect me from what?" "They're watching you. They've been watching since before we met. You're not supposed to exist in their system." "What are you talking about?" He rubbed his face. "It started as a job. They wanted me to get close to you, track your habits, record everything. But then I fell for you. That wasn't part of the plan." I felt sick. "So everything was fake?" "At first," he said. "But not anymore. That's why I tried to make you move. You don't understand what they're capable of." And then, a sound. A sharp, deafening crack. Ethan stumbled and fell. He'd been shot. I screamed and dropped beside him. Blood spread across his shirt. "Run," he whispered, eyes wide with terror. "Run now." I looked up and saw him, the man in the gray hoodie, standing on top of a freight car, rifle aimed down. I ran. I didn't stop until my lungs burned. I don't even remember how I got home. When I tried to call 911, my phone froze, completely unresponsive. Then it restarted on its own. Every contact was gone. Every photo. Like someone had wiped it remotely. And that's when I realized, they weren't just watching me. They had access to everything. If you're still listening to this right now, please hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what you think I should do. I need to know if anyone else has been through something like this. Because Ethan is gone. The police still don't believe me. And if what he said was true, I might be next. If you're on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe, it helps me so much. And leave a comment if you've ever seen anything like this. I'm reading everything. After Ethan was shot at the train yard, I ran for my life. I didn't even check if he was still alive, and that's haunted me every second since. I just ran. My phone was wiped, my accounts locked. It felt like my entire identity was dissolving around me. For 2 days I hid in a motel outside town. I didn't use credit cards. I paid cash for everything. But on the third night, a letter slid under my door. No knock, no sound, just a plain envelope. Inside, a single line written in red ink. Stop running. You can't hide from a network you're already inside. I swear my heart stopped. I threw the letter into the trash, grabbed my bag, and left immediately. I had nowhere to go. Everyone I knew was in danger if I showed up. But there was one clue left, the burner phone Ethan kept. Even though it had been wiped of messages, I realized the Signal app might still hold encrypted backups. I used a friend of a friend's laptop and found a way to extract the metadata. It pointed to a server, not in California, but in Washington, D.C. A private security firm called Graybridge Solutions. I'd never heard of them. But according to a leaked contract online, they specialized in behavioral tracking for government and corporate clients. My stomach dropped. I decided to go straight to the press. I emailed 3 journalists. 2 didn't respond. The third, a man named Mark, wrote back within an hour, "We need to meet. Tonight." We met in a crowded diner. He looked nervous, kept glancing at the door. "What you've stumbled onto," he said, "is real. Graybridge runs covert surveillance programs for private clients. But the weird thing is, you're not a usual target. You're a ghost record." A what? A person who was erased from the system, but still left behind traces. It's rare. Dangerous. If they're after you, it's because you weren't supposed to exist in their data at all. I felt sick. "So why me?" He hesitated. "Because of your parents. Did they ever tell you about the work they did?" I shook my head. They were engineers in a classified program. They created a data anonymization tool the government wanted buried. When you were born, you were automatically shielded. You grew up outside their databases. Graybridge wants that algorithm, and you're the key. I stared at him. "This is insane." He nodded. "I know. But you're not crazy." And Ethan wasn't lying. Before I could ask anything else, his phone buzzed. He went pale. "They're here," he whispered. 2 men in suits entered the diner. Mark pushed a small flash drive across the table. "Everything you need is on this. Don't trust anyone." Then he stood up and walked toward the men. I never saw him again. I left through the kitchen door and ran. Again. Always running. That night, in another cheap motel, I plugged the flash drive into my laptop. It contained thousands of internal emails, contracts, surveillance logs, proof of everything. And one last file, a video message. It was Ethan. He looked exhausted. "If you're watching this," he said, "I'm probably dead. I'm sorry for everything. They sent me to monitor you. But I fell in love with you. I tried to protect you. The only way out is to give them what they want, the key." "What key?" I whispered to the screen. He leaned closer to the camera. "It's in the silver necklace your mother gave you when you were a kid. Don't let them take it." I touched my neck without thinking. I still wore that necklace every day, a simple pendant, supposedly just sentimental. I opened the clasp. Inside was a microchip. My entire body went cold. The next morning, I left town before sunrise. I had no plan, just a flash drive and a chip. But they were already ahead of me. On the freeway, a black SUV appeared in my rearview mirror. Then another. I veered off onto a side road, heart pounding. My phone buzzed, an unknown number. "Stop the car," a voice said. "We don't want to hurt you. Give us the chip." I threw the phone out the window and kept driving. They chased me for miles. Finally I ditched the car, cut through a wooded area, and made it to a bus station. On the bus, I met an older woman. She saw how terrified I was. I didn't tell her everything, but I told her enough. She reached into her bag and handed me a prepaid ticket. "Go to Seattle," she said. "There's someone there who can help you. Ask for Lena." I don't know why, but I trusted her. In Seattle, I found Lena, a cyber activist who'd fought against surveillance programs for years. She scanned the chip and the flash drive. Her face went pale. "This isn't just proof," she said. "It's a backdoor. Whoever controls this chip can erase or rewrite anyone's data footprint. It's the Holy Grail." I asked what to do with it. "There's no safe way to keep it," she said. "But if we upload the contents publicly, they lose their power." We stayed up all night setting up secure servers. At dawn, we hit upload. Thousands of files, hundreds of gigabytes, everything Graybridge had done. Within hours, the story broke worldwide. Headlines. Hashtags. Protests. Lawsuits. Graybridge's stock collapsed. Executives resigned. The government announced an investigation. But Ethan's name never appeared. Neither did mine. We were still ghosts. I'm writing this from an undisclosed location. I don't know if I'm safe. I don't know if Ethan survived. But for the first time in months, I feel like I'm breathing. If you've listened this far, please like, subscribe, and comment. Tell me what you think. Should I stay hidden, or should I come forward publicly? I don't know what's next. All I know is, they didn't expect me to fight back. And now, I'm not running anymore. Sometimes I still wake up in the middle of the night, convinced I can hear them outside, quiet footsteps, the low hum of an engine idling somewhere down the street. Maybe it's just paranoia. Or maybe, they're still watching. Either way, I've learned one thing: when your whole life starts to feel like a glitch in someone else's system, you can't trust anyone, not even yourself. So if you made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more true stories like this one, and tell me in the comments, what would you have done in my place? Would you have run, or fought back? Because as for me, I'm still not sure what I'm doing.